This morning, like most mornings, you scrubbed your teeth with a plastic brush and minty paste, and somewhere in the back of your mind sits a quiet fear: the dentist's chair, the drill, the needle, the bill, and those dreaded words, "You have a cavity." Now picture a human 40,000 years ago waking in a cold, dark cave. They have no toothbrush, no toothpaste, and no dentist anywhere on Earth. So you would expect their mouths to be a ruin of black, rotten stumps. You would expect constant agony, swollen abscesses, and teeth falling out by 30. But when we dig up their skulls, we find something that makes no sense at all. Their teeth are often stronger, straighter, and cleaner than your own. Row after row of solid teeth, with almost no cavities at all. So what did ancient humans actually do about their teeth? The answer says far more about your modern mouth than you might think. You probably assume their teeth were a hidden disaster, just rotted away by time. That without dentists, every ancient mouth was full of pain and decay. That we, with our brushes and floss, must have the healthiest teeth in history. But that is almost exactly backwards. For most of human history, serious tooth decay was actually rare. The real explosion of cavities is a surprisingly recent disaster, and the reason will change how you look at your very next meal. To understand it, you have to look at what they put into their mouths. A cavity is not really caused by dirty teeth. It is caused by bacteria feeding on sugar and on soft, sticky starch. Those bacteria make acid, and that acid slowly drills holes into your teeth. So the more sugar and soft bread you eat, the more they thrive. Now think carefully about what a hunter-gatherer actually ate: meat, fish, nuts, roots, and tough, fibrous wild plants. There were no biscuits, no soda, no soft bread, and no candy. Honey was the only real sweet, and it was rare and dangerous to reach. Their food was so tough that the act of chewing scrubbed their teeth clean. The hard fibers worked like a natural brush with every single bite. When scientists study ancient hunter-gatherer skulls, the result is striking. Cavities show up in only a tiny fraction of their teeth. In some groups, almost no decay appears at all. Compare that to today, where most adults carry many fillings. Their teeth were worn flat and tough, but they were rarely rotten. They were not brushing 3 times a day. They simply were not feeding the bacteria that destroy teeth. Their clean mouths were not really a habit, they were a side effect of their food. So what changed? Why is your mouth so much more fragile? The answer begins about 10,000 years ago with the rise of farming. Humans stopped chasing their food and started growing it instead. Wheat, barley, rice, and corn became the new center of the diet. For the first time, people were eating soft, starchy grain every single day, and the bacteria in our mouths had never had it so good. Almost as soon as farming spread, cavities exploded in the bones. Decay, abscesses, and lost teeth became common for the very first time. We had traded a tough, wild diet for a soft, sweet, sticky one, but the damage did not stop at cavities. Soft food meant our jaws no longer had to work nearly as hard, and over many generations, the human jaw slowly began to shrink. The teeth, however, stayed almost exactly the same size as before, so now there were too many teeth for a jaw too small to hold them. They began to crowd together, to twist, and to grow in crooked. This is why so many of us today need braces just to straighten them, and it is why your wisdom teeth get painfully stuck with nowhere to go. Crooked teeth are not bad luck, they are a mismatch with modern food. But here is what most people get completely wrong. Ancient humans were not careless about their teeth at all. They paid very close attention to them in clever, simple ways. Look closely at very old teeth and you find tiny, polished grooves. They are the marks of toothpicks used over and over for years. A thin twig or a stiff stem of grass worked between the teeth after eating. This habit is one of the oldest human behaviors we can find anywhere. We even see it in the teeth of Neanderthals, long before our own kind. One Neanderthal jaw shows heavy toothpick use around a painful, diseased tooth. He was poking at the sore gum, trying to ease his own aching tooth. That may be the single oldest piece of evidence for dental care on Earth.
Many cultures later chewed special sticks to keep their teeth clean. The frayed end of a chewing stick worked just like a soft brush. Some chewed twigs that we now know actually kill the bacteria behind decay. They could not name the germs, but they had found something that worked. Their teeth also trapped a hard layer of tartar over a lifetime, and to scientists, that hardened tartar is an incredible time capsule. Locked inside it are tiny traces of nearly every plant they ate. We can even find the medicinal herbs they chewed to fight their pain. One Neanderthal, in agony from an abscess, had been chewing a natural painkiller. It was a plant containing the very same active ingredient as aspirin. They had no word for medicine, but they reached for that bark anyway. This was not ignorance, it was knowledge written right into their teeth. And in some places, they went much, much further than a simple toothpick. Travel to an ancient farming village called Mehrgarh in what is now Pakistan. There, archaeologists found teeth with neat, round holes bored into them. These holes were drilled on purpose around 9,000 years ago. The dentists used a tiny flint drill spun rapidly with a little bow. They bored straight into the living tooth to clean out the rot inside. And remember, all of this was done with no painkillers of any kind. The patients sat through it, fully awake, and many of them actually healed.
Even more astonishing, in a cave in Slovenia lay a 6,000-year-old jaw. One of its cracked teeth had been carefully filled with beeswax. It is the oldest known dental filling in all of human history. Someone had tried to seal a painful tooth, just as a dentist does today. Across the ancient world, people were drilling, filling, and pulling teeth. They feared the toothache just as much as you fear that chair. They simply fought back with flint, with wax, and with bark. So the next time you dread the dentist, remember this one thing. The fear of a rotten tooth is one of the oldest fears we have, and the urge to fix it is every bit as ancient. Your teeth are not just for eating, they're a record of your entire life. To ancient humans, teeth were also a tool, a built-in third hand. They used them to grip hide, to soften cords, and to hold their work steady. You can still see the deep grooves that those tasks left behind. And every tooth quietly recorded the story of its owner. Faint lines across the enamel mark the seasons of hunger in childhood. The wear reveals the food, the labor, and the long years of a life. A single ancient tooth can tell us how a person lived and how they suffered. Now bring all of this back to your own mouth right now. Your crowded, crooked teeth come from a jaw that shrank too fast. Your stuck wisdom teeth are an old tool with no room left to fit. Your cavities are the price of a sugar your ancestors almost never tasted. Your mouth was built for roots and meat, not for soft bread and sweets. It is an ancient mouth struggling to survive a very modern diet. The toothbrush you used this morning is fighting a problem we created ourselves. We did not invent the toothache, but we did make it far, far worse. Ancient humans rarely needed a dentist simply because of how they ate. We need one constantly because of how much we have changed. So what did ancient humans do about their teeth? Mostly, they did not have to do very much at all. Their food kept their teeth clean and strong and whole, and when the pain did come, they met it with surprising care, with a twig, with a healing plant, and sometimes with a flint drill. They feared the rot, and they fought it just like we do. Their teeth carried them through a brutal world for an entire lifetime, the same teeth that thousands of years later still smile up from the dirt, solid, worn down, and stubbornly whole. The next time you sit in that dentist's chair, think of them, of mouths that almost never knew a single cavity, of a tough, simple food that we slowly traded away for sweetness, and of a tiny twig worked between the teeth by firelight. Your aching modern mouth is the price of that ancient trade. You did not inherit bad teeth, you inherited a whole new way of eating, and your ancestors are still smiling somewhere at how far we have come.